But this extends to terminology for people with learning disabilities generally. I mean, I qualified as a nurse for the mentally subnormal, which, is a hideous phrase, isn't it? But that would
my jaw just dropped.
Yeah. Well, interestingly,
and
though,
we're not talking about ancient history, Alan.
No, I've got something else to add to that. I was actually reading a Wikipedia page about somebody who'd been executed in the Far East and presumably had a learning disability. It was a bit of a cause célèbre for a few decades ago. And this up-to-date Wikipedia page referred to this gentleman as a mentally subnormal man, and that is 2020. However, mental subnormality, or the term mental subnormality, that was enshrined in the law, Mental Health Act at the time.
Wow.
It was probably seen as being an improvement on mental deficiency. And then the term mental handicap took over. And that was a common sort of phrase.
Well, there's a word disturbed as well.
Yeah.
Mentally disturbed.
And now we've got terms like learning disabilities or learning difficulties, which are seen as more respectful, but they'll wear out in time.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Who knows? In 10 years, we might have completely different terms for people with support.
I think what happens is they acquire stigma, or they're corrupted in some way. Like the term spastic, for example. I mean, that is a clinical condition around muscle tone. But that was corrupted, as a term of abuse. In American circles, there used to be a journal called the American Journal of Mental Retardation, and the word retardation is often abbreviated to retard and used as a term of abuse. It wouldn't be regarded as acceptable terminology now.
And I've heard people even not that long ago use the term that someone is demented as well, which I find absolutely appalling as well. So as far as people with learning disabilities, is this the correct current term that we use?
I think who's to know? I mean, but you talk to. I mean, I do a little bit of work at U with a couple of people, or used to do. One favours the term learning difficulty. The other favours the term learning disability.
Is there any difference?
Well, I think learning difficulty, sometimes that can get confused with, conditions like dyslexia. I think it's used a lot in educational, the educational field.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a term which some people with learning disabilities, which is the term I tend to use.
Okay. I'll stick with this one. Yeah.
But there are other terms that are used as well, like intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities.
Okay.
Yeah, there are academic journals which have those sorts of forms of terminology in their titles. So it's evolving all the time.
Okay. Brilliant.
I think it's all about stigma and how the terminology acquires stigma. Yeah.